stream should still be on now. Looks like it, okay. Has it just started a new stream now? Yes, it has, okay. Damn it, I'm so sick of that happening. Oops. And it's such a, like, heartwarming scene as well. Well, sad scene. I don't know if anything much was missed, because I stopped as soon as I saw it, but basically now Tatano is meeting with Suzune at the gravestone for her mother. Hey, oh yeah. Let's put it that way. Once I'm grown up, well, I don't think that's gonna happen. I guess I really do have a lot in common with my mother, including the part where I'm going to die young. Don't be ridiculous, Tatano exclaimed. Why would you say such a horrible thing? I should have used that time to really think about the way this connects to the threads of the greater picture, and I don't know. Like, is Tatano just a lone wolf in this, but like, what does that to do with him letting Al free? Suzune took a step backwards, looking shocked to be rebuked by a stranger. My apologies, he said hurriedly. I didn't mean to startle you. No, it's alright, Suzune murmured, clutching the flowers close. Honestly, it's not something I like to talk about myself, but I'm sick, so there's not really anything I can do to change it. Sick? I have a heart condition. A generic expression for illnesses pertaining to the heart, also referred to as heart disease, includes things such as heart failure, valvular heart disease, and so forth. Now I have to think of 2 stream titles. A transplant is the only thing that can help me, but my blood type is a little weird, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to find me a compatible donor. The immune system exists to get rid of foreign substances in the body. Often a patient's immune system will attack a transplanted organ, which can result in the organ failing or function poorly. To mitigate the risk of rejection, it's preferable for the donor and the recipient to have the matching body tissue. In the case of a heart transplant, characteristics such as blood type and pre-sensitized antibodies, human leukocyte antigens must be screened ahead of time. Then, bowing her head, Suzune stepped in front of the gravestone and clasped her hand in silence. Tatano felt a retching pain inside him, as if Kotone was being taken from him all over again. If there really was a god, why would he do such dreadful things? Is there nothing I can do? He nearly lamented aloud. I'll do anything, Suzune. I'll do whatever I have to do in order to save you. Tatano clenched his fist as he stared at the grave. Tell me, Kotone, what can I possibly do for your daughter? Please tell me. Please. And so, the months rolled on. Everything changed just after 10 o'clock that morning. Tatano was on the stakeout when his cell phone rang. He glanced at the call display and saw Daisuke Endo's name. He hadn't heard from Daisuke in years now. Fearing that something might have happened to Suzune, Tatano answered. I assume that's Yakuza, but I don't know who Haruka is. Tatano answered the call despite his current tense circumstances. At once he heard Daisuke wailing. Suzune had a seizure! She might not come back from this one! Wait, should I know? I know very little about Yakuza. Tatano's terrible suspicions had been right on the mark. He felt himself growing weak. Please, Daisuke exclaimed. You need to shoot that girl you're with, that Hitomi Osawa. You need to shoot her in the head. Wait. If we have her heart, we can save Suzune. I haven't played any of them. At first, Tatano couldn't have made sense of what Daisuke was saying. How does this work with the timeline? Like, he said he knew he'd have a brain-dead girl that day. Like, was there another girl he had in mind? I don't know. Or I don't even own a Yakuza game, actually, to be honest. Hurry up and shoot. Shoot her, please. Hitomi Osawa has the Bombay blood type. Wait, hold on, Tatano said, keeping his voice low. You want me to kill Hitomi Osawa? Why? He quickly scanned the area. Daisuke, are you nearby? Wait, where are you? Don't worry about that. If you can just Render her brain dead. We'll be able to transport her heart into Suzanne. The term brain dead refers to a state where the entire brain, including the brainstem, is beyond any recovery. In Japan, brain death is defined by Article 6 of the Act on Organ Transplantation, which states that brain death can only be declared with the goal of authorizing a transplant and is subject to the judgment of at least 2 doctors inspecting a patient according to a preset process at least 6 hours apart. Shooting someone in the head didn't necessarily guarantee they'd wind up brain dead. And even assuming it did, if Tatano shot the Osawa girl here in the middle of the scramble, it would cause a giant incident. By the time the autopsy was completed, the window for a heart transplant would surely have passed. Tatano, shoot her, please! Daisuke, I can't. You know I can't do that. Hurry! It was like his old friend wasn't even listening to him. Look, even if she did wind up brain dead, she wouldn't be able to afford the transplant. But Daisuke kept on shouting, It's fine! It'll be fine! I'll make the transplant work somehow. You'll make it work? Even knowing how ridiculous that is, part of Tatano wanted to know what he had in mind, if anything. I finally found it. I found something we can do for Suzune. Please, help me help her. Tatano understood death. He was feeling painfully well. To be helpless to stop the suffering of someone you loved. I mean, you'll never stop the suffering of someone you love because it'll never leave the goddamn charts. Nothing in the world would hurt as much as that. I want to save Suzune. Tatano, this is the one thing I will ever ask of you. Tatano could hear choked weeping from the other side of the line. And at that sound, something inside him shifted. Yes, Daisuke was right. The likelihood of a transplant happening wasn't the issue. What matters was right now, he could take action. He could do something for Suzune. He mustered up his resolve, feeling the doubt lift from his heart. For Suzune. For the daughter of the woman he loved. Tatano checked the gun tucked inside his jacket. Then slowly began making his way through the crowd towards Satomi. How? He doesn't know that it's Suzune's brother that he's been like hunting down this whole time, does he? He slowly made his way through the crowd to Satomi. Now you know why we're here. Tatano gestured subtly with his gun, its barrel still pressed against Maria's temple. So he doesn't know about the disease stuff. Kano's own gun wavered in his hands. He was crying inside. There was nothing else he wanted to hear from Tatano now. And now he was sure of one thing. Words were never going to stop this man. Kano, Tatano said. At my age I've seen all sorts of young detectives come and go. He fixed his lonesome gaze on Kano. And you're just about the worst of the lot. Whenever it's time to take action, you immediately do something reckless. Do you know how many formal apologies I've had to write because of you? Tatano let out a heavy sigh. But you know, Kano, because of the way you've looked up to me, you've saved me. And that's the truth. He sounded like a man speaking his last words. Now come on, see if you can stop me. He pressed the gun harder against Maria's temple. Kano took aim at his former hero's head. Detective Tatano. His finger wavered on the trigger. Shoot him. You have to shoot him. If you don't shoot him, Maria's going to die. He tried desperately to convince himself. I am going to stop you. Tatano looked at him coldly in the eye. Do it then, shoot me. Kano stared right back. He tightened his finger on the trigger. Rah! Monkeys! So before I continue with Maria's story, I have to set things wrong. Which means I have to get Minorikawa back on that roof. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tatano, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? What's her agency in this? Hey, Kelvin. This is a very fascinating story. Like, and also the gameplay and the presentation. Like, it's all very interesting. I hear a faint voice and realize that the man is listening to a wireless radio. Hey, Jimmy. I've managed to secure Hitomi Osawa at the Shibuya Central Hospital, the voice says. A gleam comes to the gunman's eyes. He pulls his cell phone from the jacket and hurriedly makes a call. I must have unlocked negative delay powers when the stream broke down like 20 minutes ago. Wait. I've secured Maria Osawa, he says to whoever's on the other end. Huh? Maria Osawa. Is my name Maria Osawa? You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi Osawa. If I am Maria Osawa, what sort of relationship do I have to Hitomi? If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Then my captor hangs up. Were you serious just now? My voice wavers uncontrollably. What do you mean you'll kill me? I mean, to be fair, I am time traveling a bit in this game because I'm jumping through things, so maybe I like went back in time to the time before you entered here and I already formulated my response to you. Don't look at me like that. He steps in closer to me, his expression dangerous. That killer's edge that he lost during our little talk is back in full force, and he won't listen to a word I say. Hey, just bear with me a little longer. I just went through. Also, like the whole internet breakdown happened in the middle. It's very emotional, backstory here. He blindfolds my eyes with some sort of towel. I can't see through it at all. Just then, I hear Kanan's voice inside my head. My memories are like shards of broken glass, tumbling through my mind, all out of sequence. The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. How are you able to do that when the string is so tangled up? Oh, once you know the trick to it, you can do it with your eyes closed. Oh shit, I did it backwards. I mean, in the short of it is that a girl was kidnapped, and then in a sort of like, I've forgotten the word for it. A ransom situation. Her twin sister was also taken from the scene, and there's also this journalist who was like writing about everything going on, and he's causing mishap everywhere he goes. There's the father of the two girls who is in the midst of this massive drug arms race of balance of power and things like that. There's the guy who's rescuing the girl. There's this nonsensical man who dresses like insanely distinctively, and I don't know. The point is that this girl has been kidnapped multiple times. I'm showing Kanan how to do a cat's cradle. She reaches for the string. Huh? She doesn't get hold of it quite right. What gives? Despite her efforts, the string gets all jumbled up. No, not like that, I say. Hook your index fingers through the front part of the string. No, I get that. Kanan's getting irritated. But after giving it a few more tries, she finally managed to pull it off. There you go, she says. Look at that. Seeing her innocent little smile bolsters my own spirits. That's neat. No, that's neat. Thanks for teaching me. Oh, it's nothing special. Here, as thanks, let me teach you some skills to protect yourself. Abruptly, my memory jumps forward a bit. Kanan has been training me in some sort of self-defense. Techniques for protecting oneself when attacked. Rather than defeating the opponent, self-defense training generally prioritizes simply getting oneself away from danger. Some people consider behavioral tenets such as run away when you're attacked or don't go near dangerous places to be forms of self-defense as well. Don't overthink it, she says. People will either try to punch you, kick you, or grab you. If you can stay ready for those three things, you'll be able to take it from there. She demonstrates some defensive movements as I watch. I follow suit, doing my best to mimic her. Okay, let's do this. Kanan throws a punch at me. I dodge, grab her by the wrist, and give her her arm a twist. Incredibly, she goes whirling through the air. She lands nimbly on her feet, a little grin coming to her face. Nicely done, she says. I stare down at my own hand. Did I just do that? I believe they know Aiki Jiu-Jitsu. Or Jiu-Jitsu. I can't remember which order it goes in. But yeah, like, she beat up like a professional MMA fighter earlier in this game. Or she beat her in a fight. I do as she says, trying to repeat the movements over and over. At first it feels like a silly gimmick, but eventually I can feel the motions growing smoother. There you go. People like those thugs we got before won't get the drop on you again. It's Aiki Jiu-Jitsu. Which is actually, Aikido is a self-defense thing, I think, in general. Thugs. Now my memories zip further back into the past. Also, contextually this girl, Maria, has had memory loss since the start of the day, and she doesn't even know her own name. Although she might have picked it up now because she heard it mentioned. I was wandering the streets, trying to get back to my hotel, but I'd gotten lost. By the time I'd realised I'd wandered in some dodgy back streets, I was already surrounded by people giving me threatening looks. There must have been thugs looking for tourists to rob. If they'd caught me, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive. But they hadn't. Kennard's seen to that. Thank you so much for what you did to me. I didn't want there to be a scene here, Kennard says bluntly as she surveys the aftermath of the thug's attack. That's all. I happened to be right underneath the apartment window when I was nearly abducted. Bit by bit, my memories of Kanan are starting to resurface. Just a little bit more. Just a little more, and I'll have myself back, I'm sure of it. Detective Tutano, where are you? A man's voice suddenly snaps back into the moment. It's Kano. I've come as you asked. And this is a bad ending also. The gunman grabs me by the arm and yanks me to my feet. Where's Satomi Osawa? He snarls. Why didn't you bring her here? Detective Tut. No, why are you doing this? This is really Maria? So this is all well and good, but I know that this is going to go badly because Kano is about to run off to save Minorikawa. My captor removes my blindfold. The first thing I see is the sky overhead. It's so bright that I have to lower my eyes, and then I spot someone in the distance. It's a man. There's a man standing on the edge of the roof of a building across the way. Ah! Momentarily forgetting my own situation, I cry out. Huh? The young man in front of me turns in surprise when I'm pointing. So like the fun thing about this game is that like this guy in the front and the girl pointing, obviously they're both characters I control, but they don't know each other personally. The man across the way is staring into the streets below, looking like he might jump any moment. And that's another of the characters I control. I'll be right back. We can finish this after. The young man takes off, disappearing down the stairwell. My heart pounds nervously in my chest as I gaze across the other building. Then my captor Tatano, as the other guy calls him, grabs me by the arm. Let's go. Wait, did I say the wrong thing? I mean, we choose actions for them. I would say that's controlling them. Huh? Are we headed over there too? No, we're going somewhere else. I don't know where yet. Tatano's got his gun trained on me again. Like this is something that's gone wrong because I've made the wrong choice for another character. Looks like I don't have any choice but to go with him. He nudges me on and we head for the stairs. I take a quick look back at the sky above the city. This may be the last time I ever see the sky. For some reason, that thought resounds inside my head. Oh, I was hoping we'd find out what happened to her. Because on Kano's timeline, he just didn't see them again. And as soon as her blindfold was taken off, Maria spotted Minorikawa atop the building across the way. Kano rushed over there to stop what he thought might be a potential suicide, and Tasuno used the opportunity to abscond with his captive. Definitely a case of Minorikawa being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, I have been intentionally trying to get all the bad endings. And that number 56 is not a lie. There have literally been like 56 bad endings so far. So now... Oh, it's the wrong one. I can still carry on though. Like, you gotta feel the despair of all the bad endings before you get to relish the good ending. I actually wonder now, what's the least amount of bad endings you could possibly get without without just like stopping on people's stories. Like, obviously I guess you could do it first go, but it would be really awkward. Hang on, why does Minorikawa always stop there? Have I not done this timeline for him? Wait a minute. This is what happens if he doesn't crash into Archie. Okay. I guess we'll carry on with this one. You look tired, sir. Yeah. I mean, you look tired, sir. Yes, I guess so. His reply was barely audible. It is almost like 4 AM. But I've gone up till like 5 AM before, so it's okay. I just want to finish this chapter. The taxi stopped outside of Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa left a $1,000 bill on the seat and exited the cab. He was stumbling his way through the building when someone called out to him. Mr. Minorikawa! Oh wow, it's Osawa. The other playable character. For a moment, Minorikawa didn't recognize the man now idling the sedan at the curb, but when he took a closer look, he realized it was Kenji Osawa. Can I do this one yet? I'm not going to. Oh, Mr. Osawa. Sorry, but I haven't been able to look into that thing that you asked me about yet. I see. That's quite alright. Osawa looked pale and haggard. Minorikawa's reporter sense started tingling. Wait a minute. What was Osawa doing? Oh, I thought I finished his. Oh, no, I changed his. That's right. This guy is the key to something. He recalled what he heard the detective and his buddy talking about back at the scene of the explosion. Roughly 8 hours ago, they infected Maria with the UA virus. If we don't administer Kenji Osawa's antiviral before she develops symptoms... You're caught up in something big, aren't you? How? How do you know that? Because, the reporter said simply. I'm Minoru Minorikawa. Osawa rolled his eyes. Well, that'll make this simpler, I guess. Get in. I'll tell you everything. Minorikawa hesitated. This might be his big chance to land and beyond incredible scoop. I don't know, like... It's hard to say if Minorikawa is, like, a genius and we just don't understand it. Yet it felt like it was too late to matter. Still, landing a major story, selling out an issue of 4-star General Gossip, and putting Heaven Publishing on the road to solvency, that was the least he could do in Toyama's memory. You don't drop a story until you have what you need. They've spoken before actually. They were like an hour ago they were on the phone because Osawa wanted Minorikawa to check with his publishing company to see if his assistant had been cheating on, like his wife had been cheating on him with his assistant. There's layers to everything. Everyone's connected. Maybe it was too late to save Toyama, but Minorikawa got in the car Osawa's tale was beyond anything Minorikawa had imagined. So, they sent you threatening emails, devised a plan to kidnap your daughter in order to get info, and now that's failed, the attorney's bioterrorism. finally Minorikawa was able to flesh out the story behind the conversation he overheard earlier. And as he did, he could feel a growing sense of exhilaration. Oh, actually, funny you should say that. In this car conversation, it was 4:20 at some point. Before Osawa could answer, a new idea occurred to Minorikawa. Wait, hold on. Why didn't they just start by holding the whole city hostage? Why did they need to go through all the trouble of kidnapping your daughter? I don't know, Osawa said, shaking his head. Perhaps they wanted the ransom money. For a mere 50 million yen? I can't imagine international terrorists bothering for that much. You can't know how terrorists think, Osawa. You can't know how terrorists think, Osawa spat. Let's just assume though. Could there be some other reason they abducted your daughter? The thing is that Minorikawa prides himself on his integrity, even though he works for a shitty tabloid. Osawa didn't reply. He was probably too preoccupied with finding a way to save his infected daughter to think of anything else. Still, something about the course of events didn't quite add up to Minorikawa. To put it into this context though, this whole thing is like, effectively, everyone in Tokyo could die. That's probably a bit much for $500,000. But whatever the case, if the criminals were after this antiviral, then sticking with Osawa ought to bring him closer to the truth. Minorikawa was still mulling over that when they arrived at the laboratory. It's a very Dr. Evil ransom, I suppose. The two men hopped out of the car and were immediately rushed by a pair of security guards who subdued them in a matter of moments. Hey, Minorikawa expressed it. What the hell is this? Unman me, Osawa yelled. I'm Kenji Osawa. This is my lab. But evidently that didn't matter to the guards. I can't remember if I recognize... Oh, is that... That's the other guy, I forget his name. Another man emerged from the building. He and Osawa exchanged a few brief words. Judging from the tone of the conversation, there was somebody who outranked Osawa in the company. Take him away. As the newcomer looked on, the guards dragged Osawa into the building. Hey, Minorikawa shouted at the man and he began to walk away. Don't you know what's going to happen to Shibuya? Don't you care? If you just stand by and let the people of this city die, Okoshi Pharmaceutical is going to be held responsible. And probably you'll die. The man stopped in his tracks. And if that happens, you'll be ruined personally too, Minorikawa added. You know I'm right. That will be up to the police to decide. You're going to regret this. Don't be a fool. Minorikawa's resolve was unwavering. His pen would mete out justice. He might have come close to forgetting what he once stood for, but now the old fire was back. I see this isn't someone to leave unchecked. The man gestured with his jaw. Take him as well. Jimmy Jam 100, this is a thing we are learning more and more every day in these COVID times. More security guards surrounded Minorikawa. Hey, stop it! Let me go! But though he struggled forcefully, there was no escape. Once he was dragged through these laboratory doors, Minorikawa never wrote another article again. And now, we're presumably going to get this same different-ish bad end from Osawa's point of view. Minorikawa accompanied Osawa to the lab, but there was no getting past the security guards, and even if Osawa can't get into his own lab, there's no real reason for you to go there. It's Osawa who needs to decide on a different course of action here. Okay, so now we go to Osawa's timeline and see what brings him out here. If I manage to get every bad ending, that's a win for me. Because I've never managed it on my first try. I always keep finding the real endings by mistake. As he went driving past Oyama, Osawa spotted the man he recognized walking along. He pulled up alongside him and called out through the window. Mr. Minorikawa. Oh, Mr. Osawa. Sorry, but I haven't been able to look into that thing you asked me about yet. I see. That's quite alright. The business of Osawa's wife, and Tanaka could wait until later. Right now he needed to focus on protecting Shibuya. If he didn't get his hands on that antiviral... You've caught up something big, haven't you? How do you know that? Because I'm Minoru Minorikawa. Well, the man's egotism had some justification. Maybe he didn't know the details, but he clearly had some inkling about Osawa's situation. Something clicked in Osawa's mind. He was up against the wall. Akoshi Pharmaceuticals had told him they were going to let Maria die. He was past the point where he could resolve this peacefully, but he was not going to give up without a fight. When it came time, Osawa was sure this man could help him. I'm not sure about that. In another timeline, Minorikawa just got beat up by a street thug. Well, that'll make it simple, I guess. Get in. I'll tell you everything. Minorikawa thought for a moment, then got into the passenger's seat. Are we going to hear it this time, or are they just going to skip over it again? As he drove to the lab, Osawa filled Minorikawa in on the details. The reporter listened in intently, occasionally interrupting to ask a question. So are you planning to get your hands in the antiviral? He asked when Osawa had finished. I'm not sure. I figured I'd think of something else after I got there. Minorikawa let out a nasal chuckle. Just improvising, huh? Oh well, I'll back you up. At least I know I found my way into something important. They pulled up outside the lab and the two men got out of the car. Immediately, a team of security guards burst out through the gate and forced Osawa to the ground. Hey! Minorikawa protested. What the hell is this? The guards had grabbed him as well. Unhand me, Osawa yelled. I'm Kenji Osawa. This is my lab. Mr. Osawa, Minorikawa said. What the hell is going on here? Wait, now they're my drugs. But Osawa was just confused. He looked up to see Makino standing before him. Sir, tell those thugs to let me go. Wait a minute. Makino is his wife's dad. They're in this together. Makino just frowned silently down on him. So, not only will you not help me, you're already actively getting in my way. Osawa glared at his boss. Maria's life. No, countless human lives are at risk, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what I need you to understand. Makino gave a signal to the guards, who proceeded to drag Osawa away. Sanja's writhed with despair at his own impotence. In the end, there was nothing I could do. Dude. This is true also. Osawa decided to get the antiviral directly and even get some unexpected help from Minorikawa along the way. Unfortunately, upon arriving at the lab, they had to run into Makino and his security goons. It looked like Osawa was just not going to be able to get into his laboratory. He'll have to make some other decision. I don't think this will be a thing, but what happens to this if Minorikawa never meets him? Like, will the thing still be locked, is my question. Okay, it's basically the game saying, no, we haven't written that scenario. Bite me. Which is a shame. Like, one of the times that happened, it was like, I really wanted to see what happened. Ooh, them's fighting words. No, I haven't actually played Detroit Become Human. I only scarcely know details about it. The main detail that I know is it's David Cage. I haven't actually. I would like to at some point. I just haven't had the time. I know it's memed a lot. I think he's played several David Cage games, hasn't he? Okay. I remember I watched his Life is Strange playthrough and that was a lot of fun. Which has a similar vibe, I feel. You look tired, sir. I mean, you look tired, sir. Yeah, I guess so. His reply was barely audible. The taxi stops outside of Heaven Publishing. The trip had taken 10 minutes on the dot. Thanks. Minorikawa left a 1,000 yen bill on the seat and exited the cab. 1,000 yen doesn't seem like much actually this time. Sir! The driver called after him. Minorikawa turned back around. Kimizuka was leaning out the window to point at them. It isn't cold work because it's fun, sir. The day will be over soon enough. Just hang in there a little bit longer. The driver finished with a knowing grin. I can believe that just because I know from reputation that Heavy Rain is ridiculous, and the trope Become Human is... what I've seen of it is curious. Minorikawa cracked a ghost of a smile. Maybe his spirits have been lifted up just a tiny bit. Maybe when I catch up on all the NLSSs, I'll go back to watching other playthrough. I just finished watching like a November NLSS, so that's where we're at. Thank you, he replied. You're a true friend of the working man. He waved half-heartedly and then headed into the building. Mr. Mino! Chiaki threw herself at him as soon as he opened the door to the editing office. Chiaki's back, boys! News of the explosion was playing on the television. Minorikawa marched straight to his desk and opened up his laptop. While it booted up, he got a handle on the current situation. Wait. How are we going for endings right now? I'm missing 51. I'm missing 51, 61, and 62. I might do those at the end of the stream. Where are the folks... wait. Sorry. Where are the folks from the loan company? He asked. They're here, Chiaki said. I have them waiting downstairs. Did they know Tomo is dead? I'm sorry. I kind of let that slip. What about Hannah? I'm not sure. I have no good endings yet. I just have progress. I'm not sure. I haven't heard from her since she called earlier. With a tiny sigh, Minorikawa started typing his laptop. By some miracle, his 6 pages of the copy were nearly wrapped up. Still, he needed to do whatever it took to see this job through to the end. That would serve as his final tribute to Toyama's memory. I don't think Toyama is actually dead, which is an interesting bit of dramatic irony. He loaded this copy into the DTP software in order to set the layout. Bit by bit, actual magazine articles began to take shape. Oh, have you seen how many times I've resetted my Fury runs on the first boss? Then the editing department door swung open. You should know how it is by now. Hey! Snarled the young man who barged in first. He kicked over a stack of books. How long you gotta keep us waiting, huh? Honestly, Sagawa, must you be so ratty? A middle-aged man stepped in alongside him. Are you Mr. Minorikawa then? He asked, his eyes fixed on the journalist. He held his business card. A pleasure to meet you. I'm Masao Ozu from Takarada Financing, a black market lending firm that offers loans at an interest rate above what the law allows. Well known for taking whatever steps necessary to collect what's owed, its business card slogan, got bad credit but you need loan, call anytime. We'll put together a loan that suits your needs. I mean, really the problem is that we set such a high standard for what is a good timing. Like and you get to the point where like I'm resetting on a 228. My deepest sympathies about Mr. Toyama. However, I am afraid that we do need you to give us back the money we loaned. Despite his polite tone, the threat in his voice was plain. Look, next time issue of General Gossip is definitely coming out. Could you please wait for repayment until we have the funds from those sales? Minorikawa asked. That was exactly what Toyama's plan had been, after all. Well, we certainly aren't monsters. If the magazine is going to be making you money, we wouldn't mind delaying another month. Yeah, these guys have been very, very productive in this. They're actually hunting down 2 different characters at once. you really mean it? Chiaki chirped. To clarify, that would be the case if Toyama was still alive. Releasing the next issue is all well and good, but with Toyama gone, so too is the company. That will make repayment of what we're owed impossible, I expect. Then what do you expect us to do? Minorikawa asked coolly. How about we just cut to the chase? Growled the younger man, Sagawa. Dig out your ears and listen up. Chiaki recoiled in a panic and Minorikawa held up his opposing hands. Chiaki is not suited for this situation at all. She's had a rough day just by interacting with people at all. Knock it off, he said. You're scaring the young lady. A thin smile came to Ozu's face. All we want to know is where Mr. Toyama's daughter is. Yeah, that's right, Sagawa said. Tell us where the girl is. No way, Chucky squeaked in protest. Hana's just a little kid. She doesn't have a responsibility to pay back the... Ozu didn't let her finish. Ozu was not Kanye West. We're aware of that. Nevertheless, we'd still like to know where she is. The law didn't matter right now. Guys like this had all sorts of ways of bringing money power people. But, I mean, you say that, but... Wait, wrong. How many bad endings does Norikawa have if he has 61 as well? Oh, sorry, never mind. I mean, falling out of the window would be a good way to die as well, though. It was clear from the looks on their face that Ozu and Sagawa had some wicked scheme up their sleeves. Unless, of course, you would prefer to take on Toyama's debts, Mr. Minorikawa. You are quite the accomplished reporter, after all. Take on his debts, huh? Minorikawa didn't know how much Toyama had borrowed, but it only took one look at these guys to tell him it was no small sum. How about it? Who asked. The way you handle it, scoop out of scoop, I'm sure you'll be able to repay in full before you die. Norikawa fiercely returned his stare. Alright, I'll take on the debt. Norikawa's tone was resolute. But not just yet. Let me finish up this job here first. Very well. I suppose we can wait just a little while longer. The two men from Takarada Financing plunked themselves down on the editing's department sofa, spreading new meaning to the word manspreading. And what is that? That grin on his face. He is thirsty as hell. Samina, please. You can't agree to something like this. If I don't, these guys are just going to keep threatening poor little Hana. But still, that's not your concern, he said. What I need to know is, how's your piece on these street interviews coming? But, I mean, those guys, they said it doesn't matter if the issue comes out or not. Is her tires painted on, like her shirt? I've never had, like, you don't see her in many scenes. Hey! Now you can refresh all you want and get no ads, Jimmy Jam 100. Ridiculous. When a professional agrees to take on a job, they see it through to the end. Chiaki took his point and scampered to grab the printout of a copy. Norikawa gave it a quick once-over. He saw immediately the piece was lacking in structure. He then read the article a second time, checking the finer details. Several off-theme sentences jumped out at him. This is no good, rewrite it. He thrust the print back at Chiaki. Yes, sir. She bowed her head and retreated to another desk. Maybe this is a bad ending. The TV was still on. A news broadcaster's voice suddenly broke through the silence as well as Minorikawa's concentration. We're live on the scene now, where an explosion in Shibuya has... Minorikawa gazed blankly at the screen. He found his mind drifting into a particular memory of Toyama. See, the thing is, I believe that these reporters could tell him that Toyama is not dead, but my detective has told him not to release that to the press. The door looked like it might fall apart any moment, but Minorikawa didn't care. He pounded on as hard as he could. The Toyama nameplate popped and fell to the floor. It's hard to believe this dilapidated apartment was the home of a newspaper editor who'd worked his way up for the reporter. Hey Toyama, get your ass out of here! I think this is a flashback also. At the sound of Minorikawa's angry shouting, the other tenants of the floor poked their heads out of their room to stare. He paid them no heed and continued to call out. Eventually Toyama opened the door, dressed in his sweats and undershirt. Quiet down, you moron, he snapped. Come on in. I hear you sent your letter of resignation to the paper. Minorikawa sat cross-legged at the tatami-covered floor. Tell me why. Toyama quirked a little lopsided grin. You want to know why I quit, huh? Alright, lean in close. Minorikawa peered at him dubiously. Huh? Why? I don't want anyone overhearing this. Resigned, Minorikawa leaned forward and turned his right ear towards Toyama. The man's warm breath against his cheek was pretty unsettling. Thank you for the bits, Jim My Jam 100. At first he had trouble concentrating on Toyama's story, but when the older man got to the crux of the matter, he found himself listening in rapt attention. By the time Toyama finished, Minorikawa was unable to suppress his shock. You're starting your own publishing company? So that, damn it. Toyama shushed him around with a finger to his lips. He looked around warily like he might be spies in his own apartment. Right, but a publishing company, Norikawa said it again more quietly this time. What are you doing for your distribution account? All book sales were required to use wholesale distributors to circulate their publications. To do business as such a distributor, a publisher needed a specialized distributor account. They're not going to let a company with no track record open a new account with a distributor. I'm sure you must realize that. Toyama grinned with a proud gleam in his eyes. I know. That's why I bought one. You bought one. A ghost account belonging to a publisher that went bankrupt. Distributor accounts could be over tens of millions of yens. There was no way Toyama could afford them in the severance pay alone. He must have taken out a loan in order to make a purchase. But the publishing industry were in a slumps nowadays. People just weren't buying books much anymore. Starting a new publishing company was a beyond risky endeavour. And I've already decided for a name for my company, Minorikawa. Toyama's face was positively beaming. Get this. Heaven Publishing. Heaven. That sounds fatalistic. The idea is that people who work for me feel like they're in paradise. For all this fetching about keeping quiet, Toyama was now exclaiming pretty loudly himself. I mean, I can appreciate willingness to take a risk, but surely your wife must have had objections, Minorikawa said. Toyama fell silent. He went and opened the refrigerator. Minorikawa took a peek inside. Its shelves were mournfully spare, holding little beside beer cans and drinking snacks. The missus left me, took her daughter with her. Those scant few words painted the picture clearly enough. Toyama grabbed a can of beer and tossed it to his guest. But no more soul stories, he said. He briskly cracked open his own can of beer with the boy. Weak foam bubbled from the top. Cheers, Minorikawa. To Heaven Publishing big debut. He cast everything aside and was striving for a new beginning. If the man had braced himself for the challenge, it wasn't Minorikawa's place to tell him he was making a mistake. Even if it was an uphill battle, he had little chance of winning. Congrats, Mr. Toyama. Minorikawa pulled the tab on his beer can. Cheers. The two of them clacked their cans together. Oh, you haven't even seen the very silly looking guy yet. 1 year had passed since Toyama founded Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa poked his head into the editing office, a bag from a convenience store in hand. Hey boss, how's business? How does it look like it's doing? Toyama stared amidst a veritable mountain of return stock, his expression bleak. Bookstores do not purchase the books they sell, but rather they take on their consignment. This allows them to return to the publisher any books they do not sell. The books are all bulky, non-fiction tomes, not exactly the sort that fly off the shelves. The man couldn't even muster a smile for the reunion. It's been like this for every non-fiction book we put out. Wow. Starting right off with the bleak stuff, huh? Because things are bleak. The only thing that's selling this is this gossip rag of ours. Norikawa pulled some beer cans from their bag, handing one to Toyama. Toyama lifted an issue of 4-star general gossip from atop his desk. It was Heaven Publishing, having one breadwinner, the only thing keeping their company afloat. Remember though, like this is back in the Wii era, this game, so that's why the graphics are like they are. But the gossip now seemed like it was buried in the red of the publisher's non-fiction releases. I really did have higher aspirations than this, Toyama sighed, gazing in disappointment at piles of unsold books. But here we are, with our gossip magazine as our only viable publication. The beleaguered bookseller chugged his beer. Daddy, I'm hungry. Minorikawa was startled to hear a young child's voice. He turned around to see the little girl nestled between the stacks of returned stock. That's my daughter Hannah, Toyama said. It's complicated, but she's living with me now. I see. Minorikawa couldn't press for more details of Hannah right there. In all likelihood, things with Toyama's ex were going well. Hannah has like seen some shit today, and she also gives the little shit about her dad. Go on, introduce yourself, Toyama said. This is one of Daddy's work friends. Hannah turned to Minorikawa with a bright little grin. Hello, my name's Hannah. I'm 6. Look at that. She's playing Drawful. You want some of this? Minorikawa had a packet of dried squid he brought to go with the beers. Sure. Hannah greedily stuffed her cheeks at the squid. Toyama flashed a sheepish grin. Do you like living with your daddy? Do you like living with your daddy, honey? Minorikawa asked, giving the girl's hair a gentle ruffle. I do. My daddy's amazing. He runs a company. Toyama let out a tiny, involuntary sob at his daughter's ready praise. I'll keep at it, Toyama said, looking into his daughter's smiling face. Hana is more important to me than any high aspirations I might have had. I'll keep shoveling out copies of the gossip, and at least I'll make sure she's always got something good to eat. Daddy, this is really tasty. Hana held up this pouch of dried squid. Tears welled in Toyama's eyes, just like salt water. Next time, make sure she has some sashimi instead of something like this. Hey, what do you mean something like this? Minorikawa grumbled. I'm the one who bought it. I mean, Minorikawa has died a few times already. Toyama and his daughter had laughed together. It was a heartwarming sight. Minorikawa thought, a father and his girl getting along so well. Toyama might have been a hard-hitting journalist, but when it came down to it, in the end, he was just a daddy. But, does that rule apply to flashbacks is my question. It was only natural for the man as a father to put his child above anything else. After gorging herself on snack, Hana fell asleep on the sofa, looking well and truly satisfied. You know, Minorikawa, Hana's happiness means more to me than my lofty artistic ideals ever could. Toyama kept his voice low as he regained his daughter's sleeping face. This doesn't smell like a bad end to me. And from that day forward, Heaven Publishing had shifted its focus to scandal rags with 4-star general gossip as its pillar. Had it been for good or for ill, whatever the case, Toyama had abandoned his pride. Minorikawa had watched him become more and more of a miserable wretch. Selling out! Selling out! Minorikawa snapped back into present as the sheaf of pages appeared in front of his face. Here you go, Chiaki said, radiating anxiety. Right. Minorikawa gave her copy a close read over and then thrust it back out to her. What did you even fix? He asked. Could you please tell me what parts are wrong? She mumbled, hanging her head. What are you talking about? He's become Toyama. It's just, well, we don't have a lot of time here, so I figured if I just fix the parts that need fixing. Chiaki trailed off into an indistinct mutter. Is that always how you go about fixing your copy? Yes. Then you're never going to get any better. If someone tells you it's no good, you rewrite the whole thing from scratch. Just making fiddly tweaks here and there is what an amateur does. Chiaki dipped her head in even deeper, cringing at the reprimand. Minorikawa let out a tiny sigh. Look, what I just told you, that's what Toyama told me when I first started out. There were times when he had me do dozens of rewrites. And at first I thought he was just putting me around, but after rewriting things over and over, I realized something. There are a lot of ways you can write about something, the same thing. And that's what helped me hone my skills as a writer. Chiaki raised her head back up. Oh, wow, really? If you can get back that, then stick with it. Write your submission deadline as close to the as you can in order to write the best piece you can. Okay, I can do it. I will do it. Finally, Chiaki's face brightened with a smile. That's the spirit. One might have been talent, but she hadn't realized it yet. She needed to be able to stick to an assignment even when things got tough. If she didn't have that kind of resolve, she'd never make it as a freelancer. Everyone is just randomly impressed with Minorikawa, but he might be taking the piss. Oh, how touching, Ozu chimed in applaudingly. I'm almost moved to tears. They'll make a movie out of this for sure, see? We had only been acquainted with that sad sap Toyama. We never knew there was such an upstanding fellow here who was so good at tough love. Minorikawa shot to his feet and pounded his fist on the desk. This went from the peanut gallery. Hold your tongue, Sagawa snarled. His eyes shone with a vicious gleam. We're getting sick of waiting here. Don't worry, he stopped watching the stream a while ago. Sagawa, you really are a short-tempered guy, aren't you? Ozu clucked disapprovingly at his underling, then slid a sheet of paper onto Minorikawa's desk. Nevertheless, I'm afraid we do require a decision now. If you'll just stamp here, we'll be on our way. Chiaki stared down at the document. Is this a bond of recognitions? Yeah, that's right. That's what you write when you transfer in a debt. Sagawa puffed himself up proudly. Minorikawa silently looked over the contract. If you don't have a stamp, we'll gladly accept a signature as well, Osawa pointed out. Face it, pal. If you don't hurry up and sign, we're never gonna stop going after Toyama's daughter. That's the sentence. Minorikawa snatched up a pen. Mr. Mino, you can't do this. Think about what you're doing, Chiaki shouted. If you go for this, you'll just wind up like Mr. Toyama. I won't. Yes, you will. Just say the hell you think I am. I'm Minorikawa coward, damn it. I'm gonna land so many scoops it'll make your head spin. And I'm gonna pay back this debt and rebuild publishing. But why would you take such a risk? Chiaki sobbed. Minorikawa lowered his voice. Because I owe him so much. I can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. before Minorikawa's son, Sagawa startled him with a sudden expression. Looking up, Minorikawa saw what the loan sharks had been seen. Little Hana standing by the door. Get her! On it, boss! Ozu and Sagawa rushed at the girl. Run! Minorikawa shouted. Hana bolted right back to the door, but Ozu managed to snatch her up just as she reached the stairs. Let's be on our way, shall we? A vile grin came to Ozu's cruel face as she headed down the stairwell. Stop, let her go! Minorikawa rushed after them, trying to grab the girl, but Sagawa drove a punch right in his face. Ow! I wouldn't put it past Hana, to be honest. Ugh, the pain staggered him. Nevertheless, he managed to press on. Get your hands up. Off that. Go. Shut your damn mouth. Something hard slammed into his chest. His vision went dark. He felt himself slipping from consciousness. Just before he blacked out, he heard Hana's voice. I'm sorry, Uncle Minorikawa. Sorry. No, I'm the one who should apologize. But before his thought got any further, Minorikawa passed out. That was a long stall for a bad ending. Hana showed up at the office only to get caught by the moneylenders, and Sagawa drop-kicked Minorikawa into unconsciousness when he tried to save her. Turns out Hana had been at the police station just before this, trying to decide if she should tell the police her father had been killed in the explosion. Then someone brought her to Heaven Publishing, which was clearly a mistake. I know who did that. A lot of the characters actually have guns. Wait, when did he do that? Before I do that... Because they break the Geneva Convention. I'll consider it. Can you give me some more time? Shaki went pale at Minorikawa's response. No, how can you even think about taking their offer, she cried. Sagawa stepped in, drowning her. Wait, I'm just gonna... I can't read for now. I'm tired of doing their voices. He said they'd consider. That's a step in the right direction. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Minorikawa? Yeah, sure. Then I suppose we can wait at least a little while longer. Minorikawa had hoped to put him off several days, but it looked like it wasn't going to happen. I think this is just going to do the same thing, though. There's the man spread. The two men from except it's not the same yet. From Takano plunked themselves down on the editing department sofa. Just a minute, you're not actually going to take on that debt, are you? Chiaki asked. Minorikawa sat at his desk looking over the copy he'd written. That's not any concern, he said. What I need to know is how your piece is going. Yeah, here we go, it's the same. Now we'll try the other option. But maybe like these guys will save the day later on in the day. You have to consider that. Can we just call it even? The two men stiffened. What was that? The older of the two men demanded. Can we just call it even? This time Minorikawa spat the words out sharp and clear. The older fellow furrowed his brow and his vein flushing visibly at his temple. You want to say that one more time, he growled? Minorikawa cleared his voice. Well, call it even. The next thing Minorikawa knew, he'd been head-butted right between the eyes, and an instant later he was slammed bodily into the desk. You dumb bastard. You could vaguely hear the middle-aged man's voice ringing his head. That's when he lost consciousness. I'm only missing one bad ending now, I think. Mr. Mino! Someone was calling to him. Mr. Mino, wake up! Chiaki? He forced his eyelids back open. What happened? Hey, could you please read this? Chiaki handed a printed draft of his article. How long has he been knocked out? A minute? No, maybe an hour. You're looking at a computer. Look at the time. The voice of a middle-aged thug intruded his days. Looking around, Minorikawa said they casually seated on the sofa. He couldn't have been out for too long then. We'll just wait here until you're inclined to take on this debt. Minorikawa's nose stung painfully. Please, can you read this? Chiaki repeated. It's my copy from the street interviews. I know, even if the next one, I'm not going to fix the debt problem, but still, I mean, I already wrote it and all. Nodding silently, Minorikawa took off the copy. She was right, this wasn't going to help the debt situation, but when a professional took on a job, they saw it through to the end. That's... Maybe she would get along with more people if like she dressed more fashionably. Nothing. Never mind. Now then, how about we stick around until we feel so inclined? Amazing how all of these work in the same timeline, hey? Okay. Wait. It was Archie who did it, I think? No, this isn't the right one. I'm supposed to not take her to the publishing company? No, that's the one I did. I thought it was. Ah, yeah, here we go. Kano thought about Sasayama's wife and decided to get in touch with her. He called Sasayama's home phone, but nobody picked up. Perhaps she'd gone to visit the hospital. With that in mind, Kano called up Shibuya Central Hospital and asked them to transfer him to Mrs. Sasayama. I'm starting to think I won't make it through this hour by the end of the stream. It's getting pretty late. It's actually 4:20 AM. After a little while, a woman's voice came through the receiver. Yes, this is Mion. Her voice is thin and reedy. My name's Shinnu Kano. I work with your husband on the force. What happened? He didn't know what to say. He couldn't find the words. I wish that had been here, but when he'd gone to make that arrest, he blurted out at last. Well, Minoru Kawa was smoking earlier on the stream, actually. Maybe not quite at 4:20 PM, but pretty close. I should have tried to get back there and back him up sooner, if I hadn't been too late. He trailed off, hoping he hadn't too much. Sasayama's wife answered in a gentle, quavering voice. Thank you so much for your concern, but this old man is glad my husband is lucky enough to have a colleague like you. No, I couldn't. I married a detective, Mr. Kano. I've never prepared myself for this possibility that something... I've prepared myself for the possibility that something like this might happen. But she certainly didn't sound like she was prepared. Kano felt a biting pain in his chest. Your husband gave you something to hold on to you. I'd like to give it to you if I can. Oh? Well, certainly, but I'd like to stay here on by his side today, if possible. Of course. I'll head over to the hospital myself then. I hope you don't mind if I visit you a visit. Oh, of course not. Sorry to trouble you like this, Mr. Kano-chan. Thank you so much. Kano hung up and then hurried out of the precinct. Okay, this is going to be the same thing. So that heartwarming conversation never happened. Kano began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. The phone rang several times before it went to voicemail. The fact that she hadn't picked up made Kano all the more anxious. He was still staring at his phone when he got a call of his own. It was Tatano. When he peered at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. It was Tatano's name. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call. Detective Tatano? Detective Tatano, is that you? There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. This is going to be the same conversation again, isn't it? Just what did Kano be doing this whole time? Why did he let Al go free? And what happened to Hitomi? But while he was trying to decide what question to pose first, Tatano spoke. I've secured Maria Osawa. What? The word came out of a startled gasp. Detective Tatano, you have to bring her here ASAP. Right now she's... Tatano cut him off. You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi Osawa? Yes. I overheard the wireless that the man from the US embassy had her in custody. Kano had been listening to the most recent wireless traffic, but apparently Stanley had managed to find Hitomi. But what is Tatano getting into here? Wait, hold on, what for? I mean, why do you need to bring Hitomi Osawa to you? There was no reply. Detective Tatano, answer me, please. Tatano replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's questions. There's an office building in yes, called South Hill. I'll be waiting for you on the rooftop. If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. With that grisly warning, he hung up. Kano's hand went limp. The phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. At least I'm not on concrete. I just want to check one other thing. Will this change Minoru Kawa's timeline? Not that I can see, so I'll change it back. Actually, maybe I am close to the end because Maria's timeline is happening in tandem with Kano's anyway. Oh, there's been so much of that. Also realised you meant trope. Yep. Norikawa snapped back to the president and a sheaf of papers appeared in his face. Oh, thank goodness they're letting me skip all that. But why would you take on such a risk? Chiaki sobbed. Norikawa lowered his voice. Because I owe him so much. I can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. Norikawa readied his pen and signed the document. Alright! Sagawa cheered. Now we're talking! A satisfied grin came to his face as he reached for the contract. But before he could pick it up, Chiaki snatched it from the desk. I'm not letting you do this! Crumpling the paper, she stuffed it right into her mouth. And she obviously pouted because she had something in her mouth. Hey, Sagawa snapped. What the hell are you doing? He tried to force Chiaki's mouth open. Don't you dare, you bitch! But despite his frantic efforts, Chiaki managed to gulp the whole wad of paper down. Sagawa blinked a few times. Oh, you did not just do that. Ozu looked down, dumbstruck. Guess we got a new contract from the office, boss. Bring as many as you want, Chiaki said. I'll just keep eating them. Go, you some kind of goat or something? The mental image of a goat eating paper is a common one, dating back to long ago when paper was made solely out of plant material. If a goat were to eat modern paper, the wad of chemically treated pulp would go undigested, possibly causing intestinal blockage, so please, do not feed paper to goats. My sleep schedule is I will sleep at the end of 4 PM. Sagawa shoved Chiaki up against the desk. Oh, cut it out. That hurts. As she struggled to resist, Chiaki lurched toward the desk, planting one of her hands on the TV remote. One of her fingers happened to land upon the volume up button. The sound from the television soon hit max volume. This might be the turning point. We have just learned that the explosion earlier claimed the life of one man. While police have stated that there is the likelihood of foul play at work, they are also pursuing leads that this was a potential suicide. They hadn't released a name, but they must have been talking about Toyama. Feeling the impact of his mental's death all over again, Minorikawa slumped back in his chair, his body languid and lifeless. Come on, bad ending 61. Still, there was one thing he could do for his friend he's lost. Draw up a new contract. I'll sign it. Mr. Mino! Don't argue with me. I've made up my mind. Chiaki fell silent. No reneging on ideal now, Isa said with a nasty stare. I do hope you don't get any funny ideas about running out on us. Minorikawa didn't need the warning. He had no such plans. Sagawa slapped a new contract on the desk. Here, sign it. Norikawa signed it for a second time. Sagawa stepped in to make doubly certain that Chiaki wouldn't eat it. Damn it, Jimmy and Jam 100. How many goats have you fed paper before today? I do hope you're able to earn enough from pay in back in short order, Mr. Minorikawa. With a satisfied grin, Ozo snacked him over the shoulder. Minorikawa was stood on his desk as his ship sailed across the rolling waves. In order to pay back the loan as soon as he could, he had to quit his financially unreliable career as a freelancer. For over a year now he'd been sailing the seas, tossed by wind and waves as he went in pursuit of a new goal. But as Minorikawa gazed over the vast wild ocean, his eyes shone with the self-same gleam that he had lit in them when his days as a reporter chasing after the truth. With pen exchanged for fishing rod, he sought a brand new destiny. For John Wood Minorikawa, for the diamonds of the sea, the rare bluefin tuna. So this is what happens when Minorikawa takes on the debt that he can't pay as a journalist. He's had 5 bad endings in this hour. Minorikawa took on Toyama's old debt and was really forced to set out a new life at sea, but was that really Toyama who skilled the explosion? Minorikawa's future might have turned out differently if he is actually inside that minivan. It's probably a bad ending because Minorikawa being out of the picture ruins it for everyone else in the long run. Okay, what happens if I say maybe? Still happens. But I'll see what I can't make the decision so. Kennedy was in no state to make a good call on something this serious. Sad truth is that he could only think about Susie Saturday. I see. Sorry to ask you such an awkward question. Not at all, sir. Kennedy dropped his eyes at the blood-stained gift box again. Yeah. Okay. Minorikawa has suffered so much today. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Kenny, you just saved a man's life. Maybe. There's also an ending where Maria becomes a professional eating competition person, and then there's one where she goes to South America. Um, but the most important ending is the one I had yesterday, where Sasayama and Kano went into another dimension via a cat suit. Sagawa shoved Chiaki up against the desk. Oh, cut it out, that hurts. As she struggled to resist, Chiaki lurched toward the desk, planting on her hands atop the TV remote control. One of her fingers happened to land on the volume up button. But my point is, if things don't go right, all of Tokyo is about to get killed by a disease, apparently. So they need to still be in the picture. The sound from the television set soon hit max volume. We have just learned the identity of the victim killed in the explosion. Shibuya resident and a pharmaceutical executive. Shibuya resident? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Tsuyama didn't live in Shibuya. Once again, the victim of the explosion is Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical company executive Mamoru Tanaka. The cause of the explosion remains unknown. The police are still in the process of following up several potential leads. The site of the incident remains an alarming scene, with relief for workers continuing to tend to the wounded. The four people in the editing office spoke in near unison. Huh? Who's Tanaka? I know who Tanaka is. Alright, so... Wait, what did I do to Kano's timeline now? I thought I was done with his. Oh, I've not read through this one, have I? So they had no idea what role the abduction was in. They didn't have any motive for why Tanaka might be helping the kidnappers in the first place. But sharing what they did know with the public, they might be able to garner some new leads. You'd raise the name? Alright then. Without another word, Kuze headed back towards the conference room. Alright, now this should fix it. Okay. Now we continue with Maria. And finish off this stream. Detective Tatano, where are you? Wait. A man's voice suddenly snaps back to the moment. It's Kano, I've come as you asked. I'm not doing the Nirvana again. The gunman grabs me to the arm and yanks me to my feet. Where's Hitomi Asawa? He snarls. Wait. That is literally the prompt for why I did in the first place, oh yeah. Detective Tatano, why are you here? Is that really Maria? As I said, I'm probably about done. It's Jim. It's short for Jim My Jam. The first thing I see is a huge blimp drifting slowly by overhead. Huh. I'm sure I've seen it before. And pretty recently at that. It's almost like a blimp doesn't travel very far. It's a flash of revelation in my head, like a dam bursting. My memories come flooding back to me. Was she in the blimp? Oh, who's first here, Jim My Jam or Archie? That's the question. Also, what on earth happened to her? Last night, I was at a party, a sort of mix of exchange students. Someone was plotting to use this party as an opportunity to abduct my sister, Hitomi. And so I told Hitomi that the party started 1 hour later than it really did. She was coming up. She better get this party started. I had a plan to let myself get abducted in Hitomi's place. Of course, this idea wasn't just to let myself get kidnapped. The necklace I wore was outfitted with a tiny GPS. Ooh. Wherever it happened to be taken, Kanan would be able to track my new location. What we hadn't counted on was my necklace getting torn off when I was getting attacked. But Kanan has never found her since. I wonder if she gave up and she needs to try again. I managed to try and grab hold of it, but I hit my head when I was being shoved into the car and it slipped from my grasp. I'm not sure how far we drove after that. In my fuzzy memories, I recall glazing blearily out of the car window. That was when I saw the blimp right after we parked. Yes, it went fine. There was a man talking to someone on a cell phone. Alright, I'll shut her up inside the storeroom. I'll be waiting in this room upstairs. I bet that's someone we know. The man dragged me out of the car and shoved me into some dark storeroom. Then, I guess for good measure, he hit me on the head again. Seriously, is Archie's dad the ringleader of this whole thing and it's not about any drug lord, that just happens to be a coincidence and really they're just here to get Hitomi's heart? There's more of it coming back to me now. Because wow, what a plot. You've spent your life living in a country like in peace, in Japan. You couldn't possibly understand me. Kanan again. So it's not like she and I had become fast friends right away or anything. The two of us were too different in a lot of ways. Where do you draw the line? Would you protect for your life? What does justice mean to you? A forlorn look came to her face whenever Kanan asked me a new question, and I never had a good answer for any of them. My flimsy grasp of my own personal identity made it hard for us to get along, and yet I kept visiting Kanan's place for the duration of my trip. I recall doing the cat's cradle there at the table one time. We didn't have anything particular to talk about. Her eyes had gone wide when she saw my deftly manipulating the string with my fingers. Who taught you to do that? She asked. My mother. My real mother, that is. Kanan furrowed her brow. What do you mean? What do you mean real? As opposed to my stepmother, I mean. My stepmother, Osawa's wife. My birth mother died after getting really sick. I was only 5 years old, so I don't remember her well. I see, Kanan said. Her expression remained unchanged. What about your parents, Kanan? I don't have any. They died during the war. The bluntness of her response made my hands stop. The stirring still stretched between them. Sensing that we were trading some serious ground, I hurried to change the subject. Do you have any friends? No. Well, I used to have one, who used to the past tense made me fear worse than I was right. He was killed. He? Oh, her use of the past tense made me fear the worse than I was right. He was killed too, by an arms dealer named Alphard. Her tone was dry, matter of fact. Taking revenge for his death is my sole purpose in life. It's about the gravity of words. Her face was an unreadable mask. But then let's not assume that she's straight. Maybe she's into Maria. She seemed almost incapable of human emotion. So what sort of person is this Alphard? A destructor who masquerades as a terrorist. Destructionist? That sure wasn't a term that came up a lot in Japan. Alphard doesn't believe in God and holds no political ideology. The cast and destruction is just to earn money in order to carry out more terrorist attacks. So you're saying this Alphard commits terrorism because it's fun? Kanan nodded. So every now and then, Alphard changes loyalties. Just when you think you found ties to some Middle Eastern terrorist organization, turns out the job was for the American CIA. What the heck? So Alphard stands for nothing then? Is that why he killed off all his people? Kanan smiled dismissively at my little childish outburst. Couldn't help but feel a little patronised. What if Alphard is I, Osawa's wife? I twiddled my fingers, turning my cat's cradle into a bridge. Kenan's eyes fixed right back onto the string. Alphard also starts with A. A tiny surge of pride replaced my annoyance. She went quiet, watching closely as I worked my fingers. The tension in the room faded as the silence between us lengthened. My stepmom was the sort of person who couldn't do this sort of thing, I said at last. For some reason, I had a sudden urge to talk about my personal life. I guess she cares about herself more than looking after her children. She's not a bad person, though. She gives me weird bits of advice, like telling me to find someone to date or that a woman's life is defined by man, but it's not like I hate her or anything. Would you mind teaching me? Kanana said softly. What? How to find a guy to date? No. She shook her head. Then she pointed the cat's cradle strung between her fingers. Oh, you mean this? So I took her by the hand and started teaching her the cat's cradle. Wait. Hey, do you mind if I ask you something? She said after a while. What's that? The friend you mentioned earlier. What was he like? Kenan's fingers went still. It's better if you don't ask. If I tell you, you won't want to come here anymore. That's not true, I insisted. Even though I'm a terrorist, she replied curtly. One who uses fear and violence to attain political objectives. The term has origins in the reign of terror in the 18th century France, known as French as La Terreur. Oh yeah, what did you do in the 18th century? I swallowed a sudden lump in my throat, unable to find the words. We fight for righteousness, but you people call us terrorists. In the religious sense, the state of being virtuous, free of sin and observant in the proper rules of moral conduct, not the same as being in the right, though many people equate the two. Am I wrong? She cast a quick look at my face. But I mean, you protected me. My voice wavered as I replied, all I did was take down some thugs. I didn't want them around. What could I say to that? I just stammered. No, I'm just messing with you. Huh? Kanan flashed me another slight, condescending grin. I was just joking, don't worry about it. But I didn't get the sense that everything she said was a joke. Even if calling herself as a terrorist was an exaggeration, the world Kanan lived in was unquestionably a dangerous one. Of course you did. I could tell that from the cold look in her eyes, the look you'd never expect from an ordinary teenage girl. Just what sort of hardships did she endure to require that deathly stare? Having lived all my life in peaceful Japan, I could scarcely imagine. Kanan tried and failed several times to get the cat's cradle right, but she didn't give up. She worked fastidiously by herself, fingers continuing to shift awkwardly about. Okay, here we go. She hooked the string around her fingers and spread her palms. But the string shape just collapsed into a jumbled mess. Confound it. Okay, just one more time. Confound it is a weird thing to say. You can make this into a game of two people, you know. He plucked the string from Kanan's hand. You pass the string back and forth. Why don't we try that? It's more fun than doing one yourself. I wrapped the string around my fingertips. What do you say? We give it a go? Kanan looked dubious. Intricately intertwined strings were like the world in the way. Like everyone's storylines. What had started as a single thread was now something that couldn't be undone by just pulling on it. I held my hands out, twirling the string around my fingers. Kanan took the pattern from me and spread her palms apart. I think I'm near the end. She made a perfect bridge between her hands. The shy grin that came to her face made her finally look like a normal girl. I followed suit with a childish little laugh of my own. And, as if in a blaze of sunshine, the fog that's been hanging over my mind finishes receding. I remember everything. My name is Maria Osawa. My sister is Satomi Osawa. And Kanan. She's a dear friend who I met in a far-off land. She helped me once, and now it's my turn to help her. I close my eyes as I reflect upon these precious memories, all the dearer for having been lost. I thought you were just, spelling that wrong on purpose. Now when I try to picture Kanan, I do so clearly. It's just as I felt before. My memories are what makes me who I am, and I would never choose to forget them. I feel almost as if the time had stopped for me while my history is gone, and now it started moving again. I'm finally back to being me. And I have to go. I have to go back there one more time. We're gonna celebrate. Excuse me, Jimmy Jam 100. Oh, I'm gonna look away. I mean, like, it's an ending that's not bad. Wouldn't that make it good? I can't even press right, left. It's a linear circle. Like, it's not a circle, it's a straight line now. So I made it to the end of this hour, but I want to get that one bad ending I'm missing. Where was it though? Like, okay, it's not a circle, it's like a rainbow. Don't give me the rainbows are actually circles. Okay. Let me just check which one I'm missing to be sure. $42, $43, $44, $45, $46, $47, $48, $49, $50, $49, $50. No, wait, shit, I'm doing the wrong timeline again. Start again. I'm missing 51. I only have to change one thing apparently. I wonder why this changes Kano's path. Because these people haven't interacted with him today. Am I going to have to sit for that phone call yet again though? Because they calmly shoved his head. What happened to Yami isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself, he said. Your sour case is over now. Put it out of your mind. I'm assigning you to a new investigation. What? Kano heard no blame in Kuze's voice. There was a fatal car accident over near... Oh, Nanpai Dai. The culprits have turned themselves in, I hear. I'd like you to go take their testimony. Ooh. To ask about the circumstances, give the details of what event this situation. The standard police procedure when dealing with individuals involved in criminal investigation sometimes includes taking prison statements to present to the court. Ordinarily, Caden would have rejected such an arbitrary change of assignment. Punishment or no, he would beg to stay on the SOS investigation even as officially on hold. But now his heart just wasn't in it. Understood, sir, he said with a nod. Kuze handed them briefing the accident. It was a taxi driver and his passenger who had surrendered themselves to the police. Kano leafed through the paperwork as he headed to the interrogation room. Being immersed in the hustle and bustle of the Criminal Affairs Division felt like a return to normalcy. The events earlier in the day gradually faded from his mind, and while part of him wanted to hold on to the sense that he'd been in the midst of something unusual, something important, his lingering regrets were soon buried under the clutter of the day-to-day. Working 9 to 5, not a way to make a living. Calling into the kidnapping investigation, Kuze reassigned Kano to look after a fatal car accident, but you can't give up there. The Usawa case hasn't been resolved at all. The taxi driver and passenger who turned themselves in are none other than Kumazuka and Minorikawa. If the two of them can avoid causing an accident, Kuze will have a different story to tell. Cool. And now we just fix up Archie's. And we go cracking on with the next hour. That song is like as old as you are, and that's weird to me. It's from 1999. But we've made it. Another hour done. Because it was a hit in Australia at the turn of the millennium. Or actually, not the turn of the millennium, because 2001 and 2002 don't at me. But like, I know a lot of just. Sometimes I can remember some things like that. It's also around the same time that the Bad Touch by the Bloodhound Gang was in the charts, and Blue by Eiffel 65. Obviously, Will 2K was in the charts because it was the millennial. Anyway, so I have to sleep because it's 4:50 AM, and I'm not sure when I'll continue this. It probably won't be tomorrow. It probably won't be on Thursday. I'm not sure about Friday because Higurashi. We'll see. Possibly I won't stream this again until Sunday. We'll see. But yeah. If you're here live or you're here for the VOD, have a good afternoon, good day, good morning, etc., whatever time it is. I'll possibly see you next time. Bye!